that is completely deserted.
Sorry, it was difficult, but this is an excellent rosé.
Good evening from Tbilisi, Georgia. So we just got to Tbilisi. We're at our Airbnb now. It's Saturday night. We landed sometime around like 7 p.m. Got to our Airbnb and met our host. And kind of a dreary night. It's been raining outside, but just a couple of interesting things to note so far about the city. So they're letting travelers in if you've been vaccinated for COVID, and so we're here with COVID vaccinations, and so we didn't have any problems getting through customs and immigration. But there's a 9 o'clock curfew, so the whole city shuts down at 9 p.m. And additionally, it's Saturday, like I said, and we were talking to our host when we first got here, and she was saying that on Saturdays and Sundays, almost everything is closed. Probably that's a result of COVID, would be my guess. I doubt things are just always closed in this city on the weekends. That would not really make any sense. But as soon as we got to our Airbnb, we just took a walk around. Starting to get dark, kind of raining a little bit, so it didn't really do any filming, and like everything was shut down. So there were a couple of places that were open for like takeaway, but as far as like restaurants, bars, almost everything was shut down. So we ended up just coming back to our Airbnb, and our fantastic host essentially gave us a bunch of fried eggplant and cheese and a bottle of wine that she had left over from a party that she was hosting earlier. And then she ordered us some khachapuri and some khinkali, which are like, khachapuri is basically like a baked bread with cheese. Some variations have egg on it. Khinkali is more or less like soup dumplings, but they're like pork soup dumplings. They're very common here. So for tonight, we're just kind of hanging out at the Airbnb. We're going to crush this food, and then let me just give you a brief tour of the Airbnb. This is the kitchen. The whole place was built out of like an old, kind of like an old wine cellar. We have this terrace that's overlooking essentially the whole city. Let's see if you can see anything out here. So the terrace is literally right outside of our Airbnb, and it overlooks the whole city. So that was just the kitchen, and then we kind of walk back here. Bathroom, and then we come down here, and then this is the bedroom in the back here. That's Laura.
Cheers.
She didn't come with the Airbnb. So yeah, that's pretty much it. First night in Tbilisi, we're just kind of chilling, taking it easy. The city's entirely shut down anyway. Other than that, we're just gonna eat some dinner, finish off this bottle of wine, and I will see you tomorrow from the streets of Tbilisi. Have a good night, guys. See you in the morning. Okay, good morning, guys. So next morning now, and we're just walking down now. Our Airbnb sits at the top of this hill, right at the base of Narikala Fortress, and we have to walk down this little kind of row of steps that you can probably see behind me in order to get down to the street. And then we come down to this little street corner here, and there's this row of cobblestone that we actually walk down in order to get to the bottom of this big hill that goes down to the river. Basically cuts right through the city. I just realized I don't have my mask on. Okay, so just walk down to the bottom of that hill. This is the Korra River. This is what separates the city basically into two halves, more or less. Where we're staying is kind of up at the top of this hill behind me that you can see, and it comes down to the bottom of the hill, which is where we find this river here. So it's a pretty kind of dreary day here. After I stopped vlogging last night, it just started like pouring down rain, which was on the one hand awesome because we could sleep to like this pounding rain on our Airbnb at the top of this beautiful hill. And today it's like the effects of that. It's still kind of wet out and pretty dreary. So far, first impressions of Tbilisi, it's an absolutely beautiful city. Historically, it's the intersection of a lot of different cultures. It's reflected in the architecture of this city, the layout of this city. Beautiful cobblestone streets, lots of brick, lots of really old wooden buildings. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's Sunday, everything is closed, probably for two reasons. One, COVID, and the other is this is a very, very Orthodox Christian country, and I believe everybody is either probably at church at the moment, so most things are probably closed normally. And right now we're in the Old City, so this is Tbilisi Old Town or Old City, and that's where we're not only where our Airbnb is, but it's also where we're going to be spending most of our time today. Kind of randomly walk and just see what we can find and explore beautiful Tbilisi. Just walking up toward Freedom Square now. This is a major square and intersection here in Tbilisi. It's been the site of many mass protests, including those for Georgia's independence from the Soviet Union, the Rose Revolution. I think President George H.W. Bush, HW or W, I'm not totally sure, I have to check that, spoke here with the, at the time, president of Tbilisi, I think marking like the 60-year end of World War II. And so super famous square, and it's just lined by high-end shops and hotels. There's like a Marriott hotel on the other side, and there's a Burberry right behind me, and just this massive pillar in the center with this absolutely beautiful gold monument at the top. I imagine during non-COVID times this is a probably bustling square with, you know, people everywhere, and but it is pretty quiet today, just given, you know, COVID and the fact that it's a Sunday, but really beautiful. So one thing that definitely noticing for sure is at least the old town, this really complex labyrinth of streets that's laid out in a completely just disorganized fashion. And on the one hand, it's really beautiful, and it's really cool to just walk back here and try and like navigate our way around. On the other hand, we're trying to find a cafe, and it's extremely challenging, especially because Google Maps, there's really no street names, and they're just all kind of like, any street that has a name is in Georgian. Seeing the Georgian alphabet, it's really cool, and their script is actually beautiful. It's one of, I think, 14 alphabets in the world that's entirely unique. But on the other hand, it's completely incomprehensible for anyone who doesn't speak Georgian. So now we're just walking down to the Korra River, which is, like I was saying earlier, is the river that basically splits the city into two halves, more or less. there's a little walkway kind of on the river, and we're gonna go down to that right now. The Korra River, which we've just crossed, and there's this huge park here where it's pretty quiet today, but I'm sure during non-COVID times this is probably a pretty bustling place. There's all types of shops to get coffee and tea and cheese. But it's a nice little area to just kind of walk around. And then this park, when you walk through it, it leads over to this very modern looking bridge called the Bridge of Peace, which was built in 2010. It's a major tourist attraction here in Tbilisi. You'll see locals and tourists alike on it taking pictures, and it's a pedestrian bridge that crosses the Korra River, and it's actually really, really cool. And it really highlights the stark contrast in the city between super old architecture dating back hundreds if not thousands of years, and then random structures all throughout the city similar to the Bridge of Peace that are just very modern looking and have been constructed in the last 20 years or so. So this is the Korra River. I think I'm pronouncing that right. There is a Georgian pronunciation, but it's like not even gonna attempt to say it. And then there's another way to say it, which I believe is Korra, K-U-R-A. And so that's it right there. And this is what I was saying is what splits the city into. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but if all the way back up on that hill behind me there is Narikala Fortress. Just below that is where our Airbnb is. So yeah, pretty quiet day so far. We've just been walking around exploring the old town. If you are coming here, it's open, like I said, to vaccinated tourists. If you're vaccinated, you're totally good to come to Georgia. Just keep in mind that a lot of places are still closed at the moment, and there is a 9 o'clock curfew, like I was saying. There's like no people out on the streets. Nothing is allowed to be open between 9 p.m. and I think 7 a.m. every single day. Found a place that's open. This is a bakery that's down these like little tiny steps here. It smells pretty awesome too. Oh wow, this is awesome.
Biryani, beans,
And
what?
okay, so we're just leaving that little bakery now that we just found. Down in this little alleyway, we were just walking past and some guy, I think a tour guide, came out with 2 other people and they had food in their hands, and we were like, what's down there? But now it is pouring. I think we're gonna probably head back to the Airbnb, and I'm gonna have to end up putting this away. So, okay. So we caught a break in the rain. Fortunately, it started pouring, but fortunately we were really close to our Airbnb. So just heading down, and we're just gonna go do a little bit more exploring while we can before it starts to rain again. It's supposed to kind of be off and on raining and even thunderstorms for a good part of the day. So we're just trying to like get in exploration while we can in these periods of dryness. Okay, So this is the street that we have to come down every time we want to come down from our Airbnb. And it's not so big a deal, but when it's wet like this cobblestone is like really slippery. I've almost slipped and fell like twice. Let's go see what else Tbilisi has to offer. And then there's just churches everywhere, right? Like this is a very Orthodox Christian country, and there are literally just churches everywhere. Like you'll just see them, little church, little church, little church. They just like dot the city. So let's go see what else we can find before we get poured on again. Oh wait, hold on. Is this a bar that's open? Hi, are you guys open?
No, only take it.
Only take.
Please and.
Okay.
Spicy, right?
Yeah?
Okay. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, that's the first place that we've come across so far where that's actually, even though it's only open for takeaway, like it's still nice to see that there's actually a place we'll be able to get dinner later. So we're just walking up steep hill just outside of our Airbnb. We're going to Narakala Fortress, which is at the top. Not really sure how to get there exactly. There's a cable car that goes from the base down by the river back up to the fortress, but it's not running today. And I don't know if it's running at all with COVID. Apparently this fortress was built in like the 4th century, and it's had various work done on it over the centuries. And there was an earthquake sometime in the 19th century that destroyed a large section of it that was ultimately taken down and not rebuilt. But it's open to the public and you can pretty much go any time of day. Just gonna put my mask on because there's people around. I don't know how people drive here. Like all of these little tiny cobblestone streets, they're so steep and so narrow in this part of the city. So I think we can try going up here. We might have to go back the other way. Do you know Narakala Fortress?
No, it's wrong way.
This is the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the right way?
Just follow me and I will show you. Where are you from?
America. Everything's closed though.
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
Is that normal? Things are normally closed on Sundays? Or is it more for COVID?
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah, so we were definitely going the wrong way.
wait.
Yeah, this way.
okay.
And just
Yeah.
follow it around?
No, just follow.
Yeah.
And turn right.
Turn right, okay.
And it's a ladder.
Okay.
And you can go up there.
Yeah.
And the Narikala and you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, what was your name?
George.
George. Nick, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Laura, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Look at how steep this is. And it's like that all the way up. And if you can believe it or not, this is actually like a street, like this is a usable street that cars drive up and down. We've already seen multiple cars burn out in the rain just because like the cobblestone gets so slippery and they just like can't get up this hill. If you come here and you want to walk to see this fortress or this part of the city in general, make sure you're not totally out of shape like I am, because I am struggling. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier. You see these like Armenian style churches randomly, like all over the city. Here's one, it's just like sitting on top of this hill, and they're so beautiful. That went out in the distance there, and they're all over the city. They all look like that. Yeah, so pretty epic view. So in case anyone's wondering if why this footage might look a little different, is because I'm filming on a DJI Osmo Action and I'm using it for the first time. I'm just giving it a test run and seeing how the footage looks. So far it's been really nice. I really like it. Oh, it looks like actually this is a path. I think maybe you take this path, which I'm not actually sure if this is right or not, but there's other people taking it up. It's probably fine. So I think we're actually inside the walls of the fortress now. man, this is treacherous. This is like pretty steep. So we're just climbing up to the top of one of these walls that has a little lookout point over here. It's a pretty high ledge. Look at that. Check out this view from here. Yeah, so pretty awesome views there. So this city is just like insanely beautiful. When you actually get up here and you see some of these views, it's just awesome. Wow, these are steep steps. We're going back around, back outside, and there's a path that leads up to the top. All right, yeah, so we're gonna actually try and find the path that goes into this thing. Turns out you actually can't go inside the fortress. You just kind of come to the top, and where we were standing earlier, all those shots you saw earlier are basically the top of the fortress. We were just standing on top of the walls, and then we came around and you kind of come up to the side where the cable car would drop you off, and that's basically the top. And overlooking this fence here is that is actually the Botanical Gardens of Tbilisi. It's really just more of a place to come and kind of chill out and take in like some awesome views of the city. And then if you continue to walk away from the fortress now, because the fortress is right here, that's the fortress behind me. And so if you continue to walk in that direction away from the fortress, you'll come to, I think, the entrance to the Botanical Gardens. All right, so we're just walking down now, leaving Narakala Fortress. Pretty cool. Definitely not something to miss if you're in Tbilisi. Okay, so just a few facts about Tbilisi right now. Places are supposedly open during the week. Obviously not everywhere is open, but there are supposedly places that are open even for like sit down in restaurants. But everything is closed on the weekends. That is a COVID thing. We talked to a guy who owns a wine bar downtown earlier, and he said that as an ordinance for COVID, like everything is closed on the weekends. So if you come here, try to spend your time in Tbilisi during the week if you can. If you come here after COVID's over, then none of this actually matters. There is a fine for not wearing a mask. It's like $6 US or something, but most people are not wearing masks, and the ones who are wearing it like under their chin. So there's like, why are you even wearing it? Some people coming now, so I put the mask back on. So some of the things that you can do here at the moment, even on the weekend. So obviously coming up to Narakala Fortress, that's completely open. So that's like a totally fine thing you can do. Hi. Hello. You can get takeout on the weekends. So there are places that are doing food takeout and coffee takeout. You can also get food delivered. There's a service here, Govo, G-O-V-O, similar to like Uber Eats. You can register for that and you can have food delivered. We had food delivered last night, like I said, to our Airbnb, although that was facilitated by our host, but you can sign up for that and have food delivered. Churches are open, so you can worship. If you're a female coming here, you're gonna need to wear a skirt to go into a church. And a headscarf. Some of the other things you can do, so the Botanical Gardens open, the Bridge of Peace, that's open. Obviously you can just tour the old town, like you can walk on the streets and tour the old town at your leisure, which in and of itself is a pretty fantastic activity just because it's so beautiful. On the river, they also run boat tours. If you come here, you'll learn all about the boat tours. It seems like every single person who lives in this city owns a boat and wants to give tourists a tour on their boat. But yeah, no, all joking aside, you can actually take boat tours. They're cheap, they're like 15 lari, and they just take you like a generic distance down the river, and I don't know what happens after that. Oh yeah, apparently there's free alcohol on the boat tours as well. That's about everything you can do in Tbilisi right now on the weekends. It is kind of quiet here right now. It'll be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday, and to see like what opens up. I'd really like to give you guys like a proper food tour of Tbilisi. Going to see what it's like tomorrow and see if we can hit a few spots. And the Deserter Bazaar, which is basically the largest food market here in Tbilisi. It's just like a big outdoor produce and meat market. I think I'm going to end this vlog for the day here. There's not much more that we're going to be doing today other than probably just continuing to walk around and explore more of the old town that we haven't seen, pending rain. It's supposed to thunderstorm later. That's probably going to start 7 p.m. or something according to the weather, and shortly after that the city will be under curfew for the night. So that'll do it for today from Tbilisi. I will say goodbye from Narakala Fortress overlooking the old town in Tbilisi, and we'll see you tomorrow for hopefully a food tour of the city. Have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. We found a little friend here.
Have good money, whole world, everywhere is the same. We are people, can respect it together.